Hi everyone, welcome to Homerino Collectibles, where today we're going to be taking a look at the Transformers Generations Combiner Wars Breakdown. Breakdown is one of the Stunticons, and then on the back of the packaging here you can see the rest of the Stunticons that come together to form Menasor. So we can see a picture of Breakdown in both modes, and then here is the bio for Breakdown, so if you want to go ahead and read it, pause it now, but that's pretty much it for the box, so let's get this thing open and take a look. So first out of the box we have the comic, and just like with Off-Road it does not include Breakdown whatsoever. We do have a nice longer bio over here and whatnot, and some extra little details, and then also in the back of the comic we get a nice little sketch phase, grey model kind of prototype and whatnot, so you can just see a little bit of kind of like the design of it being made, which is a nice little addition. The comic, like I say, just nothing to do with it, obviously. It just gives you a nice comic to read, which I think is okay, but I really do wish these characters were actually in the comics. I'm okay for them making you want to actually go ahead and then look into buying some books off the back of this, but I'd much rather, like, let's say someone just bought this figure because they were just interested in this figure. Maybe not even Transformers as a franchise, literally just this figure. They're not going to get anything from this book, and I don't really think that that's really fair. Something else that I mentioned in the Off-Road video too that I don't think is fair is that, we got Dragstrip here, and then we got the other, aerial bots from the first wave of this Combiner Wars. Even Megatron from this kind of same wave, he kind of came out at the same time. Came with these cards. With this guy and with Off-Road, this entire wave, they don't come with them, and I think that that is absolutely ridiculous. So they've just changed their mind halfway through, and so, now you've got one Stunticon card and then none for the rest. I think that that's just ridiculous. And here is Breakdown himself. So overall, I really do feel that this figure is a bit lackluster, and overall, if I had to describe it in one word, I would say sloppy. However, I do like the figure, especially in vehicle mode. I think that it is an absolutely fantastic vehicle mode when compared to any other previous version of Breakdown, i.e. basically G1 and other third-party versions. I really do think that it just looks absolutely fantastic. It still captures that Lamborghini-esque look, and it's just fantastic till you come to the back. So on the sides here you can see we've got nicely painted wheels there, we've got the nice blue trim going around, we've got lights painted and everything. The little silver bits here just kind of make you think of a grill or something. We've got the 15 Racing painted on the front windshield there. We've got the side windows painted too. Decepticon logo, whilst it is painted well, I have a feeling that it is kind of off-center a little bit. It is over to the left, or if you look at it that way, it's over to the right. Not very much, but in a hand I can definitely tell that the center of that point does not match up to the center of this. It is very slight, but hey, sloppy. So it's all very nice until you come to the back here. You've got these big molded kind of rear lights here and whatnot, just, sitting out there. They just really do need a bit of paint. Also, the entire figure is a very off-white. Imagine just leaving a toy on a windowsill in the sun for a while. That is exactly how this looks, so it already actually looks kind of vintage, kind of old, and I kind of like that because it's obviously meant to look old in the overall design anyway. So I like that, but the spoiler here is actually a lighter white. You should be able to see that on camera quite clearly as well. A completely different shade white. So yeah, that just does kind of throw the look off just a little bit when you concentrate on it. But still, that's only very minor, but like I said, sloppy. It's not a huge mistake or anything, but it is sloppy. So the accessories, we obviously get the hand/foot/gun attachment thing, and then we also get the weapon for him, which is a melee weapon in the form of a sword, and then also a gun, which works, better than what Off-Road's axe did. This is basically, you can only really use that as an axe, whereas this does have two clear, nice modes kind of thing, and it is really nice with this silver blade edge there. I really do like the look of this weapon. For storage, you only have the port on top here, and then the port on the back. Other ports underneath, obviously, you can't really get to. You got some gaps in here and whatnot that it would have been nice if they engineered it differently to be able to store it somewhere inside. So as for transformation, I'm just going to go ahead and show you the two modes, because you can get to both of them before getting to the robot mode, i.e. the foot and the arm mode for the Combiner. So first of all, what we're going to want to do is, it can be a little hard sometimes, but get this piece out. There we go. Flip that back, and then this entire front piece, flip that back like so. And now what we can do is we can just pull this piece up, and then take this, which as it comes out of the box is already in the foot orientation, and just plug it in, and then you have your foot right there. So obviously you can have it that way around. If you want more of a kind of G1 look, then obviously you can have it that way around. However you do it, that is how to get to the foot mode. And then to get to the arm mode, this is just going to be on the side like so. Now they're tabbed into these side pieces, which are the actual arms for robot mode, quite heavily actually. So what I like to do is just, uncouple the two pieces here. I'll point to it with my lightsaber here. You can see the end of this lightsaber, this little rectangle here, that is where it tabs in. And it kind of, there's a little slot so you can kind of push it down and in and slide it out. You can see there's the tab, so you could see how that kind of slotted in. It can just push straight into that tab right there, but as you can see there's a gap right there at the end, so if you can kind of, when you're transforming it, put it like this and then actually slot it in like so, it makes it so much easier than just trying to push it in. And then the same goes for when you're taking it out as well. Just try and push it in like so, so it comes out the slot so you can take it out. So these are obviously the legs for robot mode, and basically they just on this little hinge in here, so you just extend them and then they can tab together once again once they're lowered. I can get them sitting straight here, there we go, they tab together like so. The spoiler section can come down, and also these are actually the feet for robot mode, so you got the front part of the foot and then the rear part of the foot. And then you basically take this, we're going to flip the fingers out. This is going to come down depending on which side you're going to have the arm. Let's just say that it's the right arm. And then you can just, which way is this going to bend for the knee? That way. So, okay, you just plug that into that little port right there. And then rotate. And there you go. So that would be the right arm. I think that that looks a hell of a lot better than Off-Road did as an arm. I think that this works really great as both. Obviously, you're still going to get gaps and whatnot here and there, but I think that that looks fine and it's a good compromise. So yeah, that is the arm mode. Let's go ahead and put him into robot mode right now. So we want to be this way around. We can push this back in. Obviously, you're just going to uncouple the legs and they actually get pushed up into here. These two, this is one thing I really don't like about this figure. They're on a hinge there, as you can see, and they split apart. As you can see, this hinge was pulled down, and then now they get pushed up like that. There's no way of tabbing that in or anything, and obviously if you push the one side, then it kind of wobbles like that. I really hate this design. I really do not like that, because when I'm moving one leg, if you could be just moving them around and then they're like really wonky and everything, and it's just really annoying to put that back where I want it. I really just do not like that design at all. I really do wish that that was something different. And so next what we're going to do is we're going to take this part from the underside of the front section of the car, and basically this is another thing that's really finicky and kind of feels sloppy because it could have been made so much more simple. But this hinge at the back, you're going to want to make sure that it is kind of pushed back a little bit like so, just so that you can get this down in the right area, because there's a little tab there that was tabbed in here when the whole thing was flipped up, which now has to line up with this little slot here to make that sit flush. As you can see, otherwise it won't go down, so you've got to make sure that this hinge at the back is in the right place to make sure that that does sit flush, so that this front can come down and tab into place like so. And then you can lift the arms up, and as you can see they fill in that gap right there, and that kind of helps to lock that in place a bit more solidly. And then you can unfold the arms and you can turn the head round, and then there we have breakdown in robot mode. And in robot mode, this is where it is just a little bit kind of lackluster for me. The weapon I like I said, but overall it's just kind of there, just kind of doesn't look right to me. Proportions for the legs I hate, I really do. If I just bring in off-road here, I'm just going to do a quick size comparison. As you can see from the heads, they are actually both the same size. but just looking at the proportions, like with how big these legs are, like how wide they are compared to how wide Off-Road's legs are. I mean, this is actually a bigger vehicle in vehicle mode. And it just really throws off the proportion of this guy. This guy just looks really chubby. He's got really, really big legs and everything. And I'm not saying that being chubby is wrong or anything, but it just, I don't know, just something is really, really off with this figure. It's just something about it just doesn't seem right. I really don't like how those hips are just like really far out from that joint because of how they've been made like that. I think that was absolutely stupid. They could have just stuck with a ball joint and just had the legs come up, just like any of these, like how they collapse up a bit. I mean, it does actually collapse up a little bit anyway. They just could have made it done it a little bit further, and then they wouldn't have had to do this, how it moves. I think that's just an absolutely stupid design. I really don't know why they did that. The hinge that brings all this down, just kind of that being a little bit finicky. I mean, it's not hard to do or anything, but they are supposed to be a bit more of a simple transformation, and it's just annoying in comparison to other figures from these lines. And especially, I don't know if you noticed in vehicle mode and whatnot, like getting the back, like you might have seen a bit of gappage through the seam. It just can be annoying to get everything tabbed together really tightly. Overall, the design, I think, like I've said in previous videos, Breakdown is my favourite Stunticon. He's not my favourite, obviously, out of these Stunticons, from how much I'm kind of slagging it off a little bit, but, he is my favourite Stunticon, so I really do like this figure, but that's just kind of, for the character. If I didn't like him as much, I really would not like this figure very much at all. As for articulation, the head is on a ball joint, so it barely moves up and down because of its square nature. It moves left and right just fine. Obviously, you can get it moving side to side a little bit. Good shoulder movement. It goes all the way around and all the way in and out. We've got a rotation here at the elbow, and it moves all the way up. It's kind of like a double jointed elbow right there. So that's very, very good. We have the waist rotation. The hips, although they're really stupid, they obviously have good articulation there, so forward and back and everything, no problem. Knees, a little bit, like the hip is a bit tighter there, so when I want to move the leg, I tend to just move the knee. It can be a little bit annoying too. We have a rotation right here by the hip, single jointed knee, which only just about works. I mean, like I said, that looks very, very awkward. It just looks like those thighs are so tiny in comparison to the rest of the leg, and I'm all up for Transformers being like different shapes and sizes and all sorts, because obviously they're made to have a kind of humanoid look about them, but obviously they're not humans, so they don't need human proportions, and I get that, but in comparison to the rest of the Stunticons, which all look kind of really lean and quick and everything, this guy being a scout, it just doesn't really add up. He's supposed to be this really, really quick car, transforms into this guy that just looks like the complete opposite of what the vehicle mode actually is. For a closer look here, the face is really, really nice. It really is Breakdown. You might not be able to see it, but the eyes are a really, really nice shade of shiny blue. But also what you can't see is this red. Well, you might be able to. It doesn't quite go up to the top of that nose, like right to the top. I mean, it looks fine just like that, but obviously close up, like I said, sloppy. You can see that. And there was actually a dot of red here and a dot of red on the inside. I had to actually scrape that off. There was dots of paint there, and I didn't actually show it, but in vehicle mode, I can see, there's a bit of blue here, blue here, blue here. I'm going to have to scratch those off too. Very, very sloppy. So unlike off-road, also we have visible screws here, which I don't like. We do have some gaps inside the legs here. It's not too bad, at least it's not just like on the back or something like that on some Transformers. I prefer it when it's on the inside of the leg, just because when the legs are down, you don't really see it as much. So on the back we have these pegs here now that are exposed now that this is down, so you could store, weapons in here and whatnot, and if you, put this the other way around like so, then you could, store that in there. And it does actually look good sometimes. If you peg that in from the front, that looks really nice, having those two kind of like smokestack kind of things, or exhausts or whatever, or mortars. But then when you come to the side, it just really does look really, really big and awkward and strange and shouldn't really be there. So for the most part, this figure is really, really nice as part of the Stunticons. As a standalone figure, just like this is an unbiased review of, Even though I really do like this character, I cannot recommend the figure. I mean, it's just more finicky than the other guys to transform in this wave, and the whole way that the hips are designed, it's not like a huge design flaw or anything, but it just seems really strange that you'd have hips that move. Even though they could have actually got around that by just making them collapse a little bit more. You know, they already do this kind of collapse thing, you know, where the legs move up. And this is my problem. See, you're trying to collapse the leg, and then the hips are all moving on you, and it's just really annoying. But, you know, they already collapse a fair way, so why don't they just make it collapse that little bit more so that you don't have to move the hips? I really don't understand that. I really think that's a really stupid design. So yeah, overall, I would have to say that I don't recommend the figure if you're just going to get this figure, but if you're getting the rest of the Stunticons, obviously it's a no-brainer to pick up Breakdown. You're really going to like it if you get the other guys, but on its own, it doesn't really stand up to much. So thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and click on that like button, and if you want to see pictures of anything from my collection and future updates, then go ahead and check out my Instagram and Twitter. It's Homerino123 for both, and links will be in the description below. And to see more, including the rest of the Stunticons, go ahead and subscribe. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.